Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc.
I'm home, honey.
Today is the first day of school for the kids. Jason's playing basketball before we get going. They've had a little bit of fun with the chalk over the last couple days. But it's also the first day for the interior to get redone, because I'm taking the interior of the Citroen in to finally get redone today, because you can see it's dry, it's cracking, the foam is getting worn out, and frankly the interior kind of spoils the looks of the whole car. Now, I'm only getting the seats done right now because the headliner's good, the door panels are good. The dash is cracked though, but I have to send that into a specialty place to get the dash done. So who knows what it will look like. I guess I'll know in a little while. The rest of the car really is in pretty decent condition, and it's been running and driving quite nicely. I've had it now for several weeks on the road, taken it to a couple car shows. And it's actually a hoot. It's a lot of fun to drive around in, but it's not a lot of fun to get out of your vehicle at a car show and have a chunk of your leather come off on your buttocks and to peel it off. Oh yeah, there's a piece of my seat left behind. So hopefully that won't be the case anymore. So pretty soon I'm gonna be loading Jason up, and I'm gonna take him to school in this thing, and then I'm off to the upholstery shop. We go, and not so bad. First day of school in a Maserati powered French supercar.
That's true.
It is true. Okay, I guess I better quit talking and get driving. So far, they've been able to get the seats out of the car, and you can see just how it's deteriorated. The foam on here is actually chipped and cracked and worn away, so it's going to need a little bit of patch and repair there. But really, they've stripped all the material off of the back seat, and they're starting with getting some new skins made. That's the front seat sitting right here, and all of its crusty glory. I can't believe I was sitting on these things. It's just absolutely, this is supposed to be leather. It's supposed to be soft. You hear that? That's hard as a rock. It's almost as hard as that wall behind me right now. But that will soon change once we get the new material on there. So here we are, the maestro at work back here. And what's your name, sir?
Mike.
Mike?
Yeah.
Well, very nice to meet you, Mike. It looks, oh my, I am so sorry. So Mike, it looks like you've got the back upholstery started. So why don't you walk me through your process here with this type of seat? Like, what's the next step for you on this one?
I have to do the insert for this one. The next step I have to do we have to sew all the insert.
Right.
Like that one.
And this is kind of tricky because it's got all these little sort of grooves and bumps. So
Exactly, yeah.
that's why you've upholstered, I guess, is that so it allows fabric for it to fold?
Yeah, I have to sew the same way that one.
Okay.
Yeah. But you have to cut off the old foam here, have to slide back inside. Yeah.
And slide back in, yeah. And so this is the old, or that's old
Yeah,
fabric
old,
right there?
yeah.
Okay, I see. So you were able to use that sort of as a pattern to see what they did?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not an easy seat to do. I've had upholstery done before, and when I looked at that inset piece, I thought, oh boy, that's going to take someone who knows what they're doing to do that. So I'm looking forward to seeing this, and already you can see that nice soft fabric getting ready to go back on there again. Yeah, you're transforming the car. The dashboard's gonna be another story, but I appreciate the work that you're doing for us so far. Well, I'll leave you to it. Thanks very much. As for the car itself, well, you can see there's other projects on the go. It looks like they're doing a convertible top on this old Mustang. And here we go. Here's my shiny red beast. I kind of feel bad that it's sitting in here on their carpet because I know it's got a couple leaky hydraulic cylinders there. So hopefully that's, I guess if you're going to leak on somebody's carpet, it may as well be an upholstery shop since they probably know how to fix it. But there we go. Seats are out. I was kind of curious to know what was under there. Apparently not a whole lot. I'm sure we'll get a vacuum in there and get that all cleaned out before. Incidentally, that blue is the original color of the car. It was sort of like a I don't want to say French blue because that, you know, it's a French car, but it was blue. And the dash, well, when I get this car home, I'm going to have to remove the dashboard and send that into a specialty shop. I believe there's a place actually Jay Leno recommends called Just Dashes. I'm going to do a little bit of research and see about that. But seats will be step number one. Then I can move it around and drive it. We'll get the dash done. We'll get, hopefully I can find a stereo deck to go in between the console there. And we'll make this car 100% again. So we'll let Mai finish up with the interior on the car. And looks like he's making good progress. He's working his way through the back seat and then onto the front. So probably another week or two and I should have the car back home. In the meantime, I'm going to start doing some research on where to send that dashboard because I'm going to have a nice interior with a crusty dash. It just won't look right. So we got to get it finished off properly. So we'll do an update later on and we'll see how it goes. After what was a very busy week waiting for the interior to get finished up. In fact, in that time, I had enough time to fix and paint a little MGA. They did get the seats done in the car. Let me show you. I just picked it up from the shop. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum. There it is. Anticlimactic, I guess, maybe. But look, they're not all ripped and they're nice and soft and everything is in good condition again. No more baked, beat up interior. Let me zoom out. There we go. So these seats were trashed and now they are not. That's got to be the worst commentary. They were in terrible shape before. The sun had baked the interior. The leather was split. Now the interior costs $4,900 to get the seats done, which seems like a lot of money, but I can't even just to get the upholstery from a Citroen specialist was going to be several $1,000s. So they're all done. They're in. I don't have to worry about it. Next step for me, there's a couple things I have to do. One, see the dashboard is cracked. I've got to replace the dashboard and I'll talk about that in a second. And also the B pillars there. Boop. The upholstery's come off of that one, but I can't get the, I can't replace those without taking the dash off first. So very soon I'm going to try and attempt to take the dashboard off. I also got the missing, there's a shiny sort of stainless rocker trim that goes along the bottom there. That arrived in the mail today. So we're going to do that. I'm going to install that. But even better than that, I'm so excited because I was trying to find somebody who could fix the dashboard. And fixing the dash in that Citroen, as you can imagine, is kind of an expensive ordeal. It has a lot of cracks in it, has a lot of issues. I phoned around and I found a supplier who actually had a new old stock Citroen SM dashboard that is brand new. I mean, it's got to be the only one in the whole world left. I have a brand new dashboard for my car in this box. So I'm going to be very careful installing that because I only got one shot at it. And it was the same price as what it would have cost for me to get my old one repaired, which would have been about $1,500 to get the old one fixed. So for the same price, I got a brand new one and I'll have a spare dash that, I don't know, I can probably sell on eBay, or maybe somebody's got one worse than mine. They want to swap it out, who knows. But for now, I got to get my trim, my rocker trim installed on the car. Well, there, that is much better. Luckily, this car has hydraulics on it, so you can put it all the way up. It makes it a little bit easier to get underneath there. But that shiny bit of trim on the bottom was missing. Well, I had one piece of it, and it was in terrible shape. But now that kind of just finishes off the bottom of the car. Next up, we'll be getting the dashboard installed, and that's going to be a little bit bigger of a job. Gosh, yeah, this was in the original, the original box. I am going to feel a little bit guilty being the guy who takes a brand new part like this. And I mean, that's what it's meant for, is for somebody to use it. But you just never find new old stock parts for such a rare, unusual car. Lucky me. All right, I'm going to start the install of the dash. The very first step is going to be removing the battery, or it's not removing, disconnecting the battery anyway. I don't want to accidentally get shocked or anything like that. So that gets disconnected. I'm going to move that cable out of the way. Now that the power is off, I can start worrying about removing the dash. Oh, there's a random banjo in the front seat. Maybe I should take the banjo out. You know, when you've got a banjo inside your Citroen. It's the first time there's been a banjo inside of a Citroen SM. History in the making. There we go, we'll get that out. And I did watch a fellow online. It was a French YouTube video, and they said to lower your steering wheel down, which I will do. And there's some bolts underneath. This has to come out, that has to come off and out. Apparently there's some screws in here. This lower panel has to come off. There's a bunch of stuff has to come off. And you can see there's a crack there. There's a crack there. Lots of cracks there. One there, one there. This dashboard is pretty toasty. Does not match the overall appearance that the interior is now taking on. Also, to get to these A pillars, or B pillars? To get to the pillars right there, to upholster those, I have to take the dash out to get to them. So it's one of those things that has to happen. So I'm going to start tearing into this, start getting screws loosened off, and hopefully I'll make a little progress without too much effort. First order of business is removing all the screws. There's a little plate that was here. This plate. And very inconveniently located behind that plate is the flasher. I guess, oh no, is that the flasher? Oh, maybe not. I don't know. There's stuff back there. Anyway, not the easiest to get to. There's one more screw I gotta get out underneath here. Actually, I have to just loosen it apparently. You don't take it all the way. It's just a little bolt. So you just back it off a little bit. And then that dash should, in theory, start to pop out. I guess I should probably remove this guy as well while I'm at it. 1, 2, 3 screws right there. Should loosen that up a bit so I can take it off. Just a lot of taking screws out right now, which I should get a plastic bag and start to label all this. Otherwise, I'm going to forget where the dash cluster screws go compared to whatever. So I'm going to get some bags and label them. It's usually what I like to do so I can trick future self, or my future version of me will appreciate the work I'm doing. Just got to find another bag. Here we go. Ta-da! Got this little mini cluster out here with my temperature and fuel gauge and stuff on it. And I'm taking lots of pictures to remember where these wires go, because it's pretty easy to forget. Yellow and black and green, and anyway, all these different colors need to go on the exact right thing, otherwise it's not going to work. So I've got my pictures taken so I can remove this and set this out of the way for now. Just removing some of the bolts underneath the passenger side. Seems like they got a deal on 8mm bolts. Somebody knew somebody, because this car is loaded with 8mm bolts, which is kind of nice actually, because everything's almost the same size. You can see I need to vacuum here too. Years of dust that has not been dealt with. I'm trying to get the dash panel separated from this sort of intermediary trim piece or panel. And I'm making some progress, but still little bolts in the way or back there that are difficult to get to. So I'm going to keep working my way around. I still got to pull that, the dash cluster, and I don't know. I'm just doing a little bit at a time. Okay, the dash out. I've removed the screws that were attaching it to the back. I've unclipped the vents, and voila. No pun intended. Voila. There it is. And I am gonna get that guy out of there. Oof. I'm gonna vacuum in here really good. Make sure there's no screws lying around or anything. Things that I shouldn't vacuum up, and get to work on replacing that upholstery, and then we'll get to reassembly before long. So far it's been about 30 minutes. So I was psyching myself out. I thought this would be a terrible job, and in 30 minutes I got the dash out, so that's not too bad. Dash is completely out, and I've wiped down pretty much all the surfaces and given it a vacuum. There's the original color of my car, that blue. Not a bad blue. I do like the red though. It's something different. But that is the original color there. I'm going to look for, I got these pillars off. See, there was no upholstery left at all on that one. And I think, if memory serves, I've stashed some extra pieces in the trunk that I thought might come in handy. Okay, that's a side panel. There we go, there's one. Good upholstery on it. And there's two. Might have to re-glue a little bit of that, but there's extra pieces right there. It's exactly what I need. Okay, with the nicer upholstery installed, I can start thinking about putting the dash in. It's gonna get it unwrapped very carefully from its plastic cocoon over there and start to fit it. And here it is, my brand new, never before mounted on a car, 1972 Citroen SM dashboard. And it is a thing of beauty. The one thing about using something that's brand new like this, and it's probably the only one left, I want to be super careful. I also have to go through and make sure that I take all the pieces that did not come with this dash from mine and put it on this one. Because this is just the dash pad. I didn't get the glove box door, didn't get the vents or the lock. So all of that stuff that is left over on my gross dash, I shouldn't call it the gross dash. I mean, it's what happens when you leave your vehicle in the sun for 10, 15 years. You're gonna end up getting some damage to it. So I've got to take all this stuff off, which looks like it's gonna be fairly easy to do, and remount it on the brand new dashboard. I've got all the little knobs and vents and stuff in that are supposed to go in. And now is the fun part where I start to get this dash put together. I've got it sort of laid in right now, but it's not in. I wish it was in, but I have to hook all the vents back up and bolt it in. So that's what's next for me. I'll spare you the boring details of me screwing everything back together, but basically vents get screwed on, dash gets screwed onto the firewall, and then reassembly starts. Well, it is much later. It's dark out now, but mainly that's because I went to go eat supper and I was on hold for 2 hours with the credit card company because somebody stole my credit card and was buying stuff. So that happened. But amidst all that being on hold and everything else, I was able to get the dashboard in, and boy, does it look spectacular. I mean, if your dashboard not having cracks is spectacular, well, that's spectacular to me. That's a vast improvement, and I tell you, I'll feel so much better driving in this car without a scudgy, gross look. Scudgy, is that a word? Without a gross looking dashboard. So I am going to hook up the battery, make sure that all the gauges and everything that I just had dangling all over the place, that they still work, that the lights work that are supposed to, and attempt to start the car, make sure it still starts, but it sure is looking a lot better in there. Surprisingly, while I was searching pictures of Citroens online, I found my own car before it got painted red. Somebody saw it on the side of the road and shot some pics. At least I have those to compare it to what it looks like now. Well, let's have a look and see if this week's improvements really improve the vehicle. First thing I did is I put the lower stainless trim on the bottom. And I should probably point out that I'm not going to keep these white walls on here. Would never have had white walls, this car. So the stainless trim along the bottom. And of course the biggest improvement was the seats. I do not have the skill, not yet anyway, to upholster seats like they did. Seats are all done and looking very nice. But I will say that the part I did, the dashboard, turned out really, really good. And of course the better upholstery around the doors. So it's actually feeling a whole lot better in this car now. I will have to be careful though. It's not even really a hot day today, and it's baking in here because this car is all glass.
And with it having so many windows and it's a black interior, it's heating up a lot, which is probably why the dash cracked so bad and the interior split like that. It was left out in the sun for a decade or more. I'm not going to do that. It's going to stay stored inside. But I am going to take it for a test drive and see how she goes. Really does have probably one of the finer rides of any car I've ever driven. It is just smooth. I mean, that's the hydraulic suspension working its magic. It's peppy, it's smooth. It kind of is a little bit weird in corners with the way the suspension cracks, but it's fine. But listen to this engine. Try and get some of those notes. Sounds like a little Maserati engine in there, and that's because of course it is. V6 Maserati engine, designed specifically for this car. I think I said it before, Citroen actually bought Maserati to help develop the engine for this vehicle, and ultimately this is a show car that got put into production. It's a really one-of-a-kind vehicle. And I quite enjoy driving it. It's really roomy too. It's got lots of room, comfortable seats. It's just a decent vehicle. And I know a lot of people are afraid of them. A lot of people are afraid of driving these cars because they think, well, if something goes wrong, they're very complicated. And that is a little bit true. But they're complicated, but reliably complicated. And I should probably remind you guys that this car that I'm driving in right now had been sitting, not moved, in well over 10 years. I think since around 2011 was the last time it was probably moved. And after that long, I was able to start it and drive it, and the suspension worked and the brakes worked and all the things worked. The only real problem I had with the car was nothing mechanically. It was the fact that the interior had been baked from sitting so long, and that would have happened with any vehicle. So not a bad vehicle really, and really ahead of its time with the engineering too. But I'm going to get myself out on the highway here and get the revs up a little bit. Of all the cars I have, this is definitely one of the weirdest and one of the coolest too. Running errands in it today. You know, it's weird to think that this car was stationary for so long and now I'm out driving it. And I'm not embarrassed when people look inside now. They don't see a bird's nest of leather in there. They actually see a proper looking interior. So all in all, I did spend over 5,000 bucks to get the dash and the interior done. But with the purchase price of the vehicle being relatively low and the condition is really decent, it's certainly a worthwhile investment. And I say investment because at this point, I think I'd get all my money back out of the car if I had to sell it. But I'm gonna keep it around for a while. It's fun. So I hope you liked today's video, guys. I hope you like the way the interior turned out. We'll see y'all soon. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, bye for now.